animals in the world and from all other creation is a thinking animal. And since man thinks and no other creature thinks the way a human being thinks, there have been several complications which have made it necessary for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send down the messengers and to reach His message to us. All because a human being is a thinking animal. But tonight I'm going to present an aspect of thinking which actually makes a current and contemporary problem. We are living in 20th century. And as just now Yusuf Bhai said, it is our concern that the legacy of our forerunners who left impressions on religious matters on our minds is carried forward by the new generation to the new generation and so on. If it is not carried on, there is going to be soon a vacuum. There is going to be soon a surrounding where religious teachings will not be comprehended the way they should be comprehended, and perhaps they will not be even practiced. We will be left with empty rituals alone. May Allah save us from those days, that we may carry this torch of Sharia and torch of Hidayah from hand to hand till the master of our age, Imam-e-Zaman, Ajjalallahu Faraja, appears. So, what is the problem? Again, the problem emanates from thinking. What has happened is that a human machinery of thinking is just like a pool of water, into which enters water from all sides. There can be dirty water entering into it, there can be pure water entering into it. And within the pool, there is water which is mixed. It has got enough of dirt in it, enough of mineral matter in it, enough of pure water in it, and then that is a mixture which keeps a man busy till he reaches the brink of his grave, not realizing how much of time and energy has been wasted. Or the ulama of akhlaq have given an example of a mirror, that a human mind is just like a mirror upon which there can be a reflection of good and bad. Well, the idea is that while I think, there is a lot of activity in my mind which goes by the name of thinking while it is not thinking. This is the problem. In Arabic, it is called waswasa. In English, the translation is a whisper. Anything which is silent, just like whispering voice, when we talk silently to each other with a low voice, is called waswasa. Sawtun khafi. Any sound which is quite low and silent, which cannot be heard, a whisper, is called waswasa. Somebody somewhere whispers into me, and I call that whisper thinking while it is actually not thinking. And it began with Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. Quran says, we told Adam, وَأَنَّكَ لَا تَجُوعَ فِيهَا وَلَا تَعْرَى وَأَنَّكَ لَا تَظْمَأُ فِيهَا وَلَا تَضْحَى. We have put you into Jannat, into paradise, where you will neither be hungry nor will you be devoid of clothes. The prime need of a human being is food. You will not be hungry. Man wants clothes. You will not need it. وَلَا تَظْمَأُ فِيهَا, and you will not be thirsty. وَلَا تَضْحَى, and you will not be hit by sunlight. That means what Zulfikar Ali Bhutto said, roti, kapra and makan, in Pakistan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised roti, kapra and makan at the first instant to Hazrat Adam, the forefather of this generation. You will not be hungry, therefore you don't need roti. You won't be devoid of clothes, you don't need kapra. And sunlight will not hit you, that means you won't need makan. You are at a place which is free from all hardships. In spite of such a promise, فَوَسْوَسَ لَهُ الشَّيْطَانِ فَقَالَ هَلْ أَدُلُّكَ عَلَى شَجَرَةِ الْخُلْدِ وَالْمُلْكِ لَا تَبْلَى. And Shaitan whispered into him to say, may I guide you to an immortal tree, a tree of immortality. If you eat from this fruit, you will never die. وَمُلْكٍ لَا يَبْلَى. And the kingdom which will never decay. Two things he promised. If you eat this, you will be immortal. That means you will never die. And second thing, you will have sort of a power, authority which will never wane. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Adam slipped. We don't say gunah hai kabira. It is tarki awla. Because there was nothing like gunah or sin in Jannah. Sin is commodity of the earth. Sin is not the commodity of Jannah. So it was actually what we call tarki awla. That means he did what he ought not to have done. That's all. Not that he committed any sin. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Adam accepted it, forgetting that this was a waswasa and not a thinking. And today, we, all of us, suffer from this problem of waswasa. How? When we were young in school, there used to be a Gujarati book in which there was one story called Sheikh Challi Ni Kahani. There is a sheikh whose name is Challi. And therefore he says Sheikh Challi. What happened? A person, of course, who then was known as Sheikh Challi, unemployed, poor, was walking on the street. He saw a trader with a casket or perhaps a carton in which there was something. He was waiting for some labor, someone who will pass. He could hire him, give him some money to lift the weight. This man passes and sees the trader and says, are you looking for a person who will help you lift this carton to your place? He said, yes, if you will, I will pay you for that. He said, all right. So he lifted the carton and on his head. Now, as he moved, he started thinking, this man will pay me how much? Maybe £5. No. When he says £5, I'll say, no, I want £7. And then he will say, no, £6. And he went on calculating, and then finally, I will take £7 from him. He's still moving on the road. And then he says, what I will do is I'll buy some poultry. And there will be two types of hens. One will be egg laying, another for the table. And then I will gradually increase, and then I will have thousands and thousands of fowls and hens. And from then I'll buy a farmland where I will have small and big cattle. And then from then when I make enough money, I will marry. And when I marry, I will raise a family. And then my children will be grown up and they will get married. And one day when my wife will call me to come to the dinner table, I'll say no. And as he said no, the casket fell off the head. And it was full of glass material and utensils, all of it broken to pieces. So the trader said, you have ruined my business. And Sheikh Challi said, well, you have ruined my life. Yours is only business, only one casket full of some glasses. Mine is the whole life, because I was thinking of having raised the family already. Everything gone to pieces. What actually is, Quran says, tilkal amani. These are the false hopes. Waswasa are always in two forms. False hope for the future, false fear of the future. That's all. This is how waswasa begins. And in Quran it has been condemned. And all these sins, all our lapses of akhlaq, or our gunah kabira, they begin with waswasa, and I will prove it within this short space of time that is at my disposal before we go for namaz and maghrib, that had it not been for waswasa, in our language we mean waswasa means false thoughts. Waswasa is not a false thought. Waswasa is the conversation which shaitan has with me in a very low voice, against reason, against the dictates of Allah. False hope. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah salam alayhi, said that a miser, a person who does not spend in the name of Allah or even for his own self and the family, is a person who has been given the false hope that the less you spend, the more you will earn and possess. And he has also been given the false fear that the more you spend, the poorer you get. False hope. We have hopes of tomorrow and day after tomorrow. This is how it will happen, and it will happen again and again and again. We forget one thing, that nothing can happen except that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has willed. Now, in the progress and in the process of expectations which go into months and years, we commit several sins. Imam Jaffer Sadiq alayhi salam was sitting somewhere, and someone came and said, Yabna Rasulillah, tell me, if I say that had it not been for so and so helping me, I would not have been able to do this. Is this a correct way of speaking? Had it not been for so and so, I would not have been helped. Had it not been for you, this would not have been achieved. So is it right way of speech? Imam alayhi salam said, never say that. Always say, had Allah not made this person a sabab, a way, a cause for this thing to happen, it would not have happened. Because actually it is Allah who creates a sabab. He creates a cause, not the person himself. Never say it is because of him that has been done. Say Allah made him the cause and this has been done. If one understands this, then all the expectations that we have which carries us to sin. For example, I'm giving very modern examples. I want to educate my son. Now what is my expectation? He will be educated, and then he will earn, and then he will pay, he will look after me, and then there will be a time when we'll have no worries, the family will have more than one income. Now in the process of my expectation over so many years, I neither have a guarantee for my life, nor do I have a guarantee for his life. Yet, in the process, I am prepared to commit all the sins. Girl, I want to educate my daughter so that she becomes a good mother and she becomes a good wife, and then she is educated. But in the process, if there is any parda or there is no parda, if she is in contact with mahram and na mahram, I don't care. What I want to achieve is something I must achieve. Neither the guarantee of her life nor my life is there. Nor we do know what will happen, and we know what has happened, yet people calculated and failed miserably. It is only for us to see what has happened. If we are inclined to go through the same ruination which people have gone. Business. For the sake of wealth, people don't care even whether they are selling things which are haram or halal. Expectation is to be wealthy. And sometimes they come to simple men like me and say, Mullah Sahib, you pray that I may get more money so that I'll pay khums. It is a bribery in a way, because I will pay more khums if I earn more, naturally so. But they don't understand that Sharia has got its own philosophy, where millions and millions of khums coming out from one pocket is not desirable. Homes has got to come out equally from different pockets. If somebody brings out substantial sum alone, then there is something wrong somewhere. This philosophy of Homs is not philosophy of income tax. People don't understand. They are trying to compare. Philosophy of Homs is quite different. It is actually dependent upon the distribution of wealth as envisaged by Islam, a subject which is by itself an independent subject requiring a different treatment. But at the moment, in this waswasa which shaitan gives me, that all right, calculate now, if you do this, you will inshallah get this, then you'll open a shop, and from a shop it will be business, and then it will be like this, and then goes on and on. Haram and halal all put together. Allah is not there in this province, and nor can he trespass. The result is what we see. So all these false hopes, they carry us into committing sins. And this is waswasa of shaitan. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharril waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, min al jinnati wan nas. O Allah, say, I seek refuge in the sustainer of Allah, man, bi rabbin nas, the king of all men, the only existence which should be worshipped by men. From where? From the slinking whispers of shaitan, which comes into the chest and bosom of man and jinnat. Khannas in Arabic is something which appears and then disappears. Appears and disappears. That is why there is a star, a constellation, which sometimes appears and sometimes disappears. Quran says, وَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالْخُنَّسِ الْجَوَارِ الْكُنَّسِ. This khunnas comes from khannas, the stars which appear sometimes and then disappear.